Will you pray with me and for me and for each other? That the wisdom that lies within will be drawn forth from that deep wellspring of the well that cannot run dry. And as we center into our time of shared meditation, invite you back into those words, you are held, you are held, you are held. And feel yourself held wherever it is that you are sitting right now, in the warmth of your own home, in the warmth of this space here. And I'm going to share for our meditation an excerpt from a beautiful meditation called Listening to the Wisdom of Winter. From the same book, Wisdom, written by Joyce Rupp and Macrina Whitaker, that I shared on my audition weekend, The Wisdom of Autumn. So as you feel yourself held in this quiet, held in the beautiful sounds of Roger's gentle guitar strumming, I invite you to listen to these words, or to just listen and let the sound of the music and the sound of my voice wash over you as you go deeper into your own deep well. I am listening to the roar and to the quiet of winter. I am listening to a beauty that sometimes remains unseen. I am listening. I am listening to the season of contemplation, to the urgency of our world's need for reflection. I am listening to all that waits within the earth, to bulbs and seeds, to deep roots dreaming. I am listening to the sacred winter rest and sparks of hope within the darkness. I am listening. I am listening to storms raging out my window, to storms raging in my heart. I am listening to the kind permission of the season to rest more often, to reflect more deeply, to slow down, and to slow more stilly down, to pray without words, I am listening to the sacrament of non-doing. I am listening. I am listening to my dreams and inner visions, to the unknown wrapped in the mystery of my life. to tears trapped in underground streams of my being, to seeds watered daily by those tears. I am listening. I am listening to the quiet life in winter's womb. I am listening to winter, nurturing spring. I am listening. I am listening. I am listening. And in that listening wisdom, I invite you back fully into this moment, letting the echo of the wisdom that whispered in those moments of quiet continue to feed you. As I lead you down the path that winter brought me into this week. Raj, thanks for that beautiful picture too that you found. And Raj is going to come back in a little bit towards the end of my talk to share some inspiration with us again. Because the inspiration for this theme actually came about a couple weeks ago when I read Patricia Pearce's blog post. I think it was somewhere, mid-January, a song for winter. And in it, she linked to a beautiful song that she wrote a number of years ago, and I emailed Raj, hey, do you think we could learn this? And by we, of course, I did not actually mean me. And so at the end of the talk, Raj will lead us into that song. But it was funny, as I did my deep dive during the course of this week into the wisdom of winter, I sort of realized with a sense of, irony, astonishment, that I probably actually have enough inspiration for 2 or 3 talks, which I will not give all at once this morning. I hope. And the astonishment is because for years and years and years, my kids, if they are, if I can get them to listen to this at some point, they will laugh that I'm talking about the wisdom of winter. Because while I have always had kind of, in my adult life, sort of begrudging realization of the beauty of, snow-laden trees and the beauty of winter, mostly I've had a deep-seated, salty-languaged grumbling about winter, about colds. I get hives on my body in the snow. I don't love to shovel, all those things. And so it has been a shift that took me some time. And I love that you played a song that grew out of our time in the lockdown version of the pandemic, because that was part of what shifted for me. When I was teaching at a high school lockdown was one thing, but then that school year, the 2020-2021 school year, we taught in a hybrid format, which meant for 6 or 7 hours a day, unless I was alone in my office or outside, I was wearing a mask. And so as the winter came along, all of a sudden, walking outside even for 10 or 15 minutes with a teacher friend to talk and to feel that gasp of cold air on my face and in my lungs was such a miraculous, cleansing gift. So in this sense of winter, that is the womb of spring, and the wisdom of darkness, that is the womb of light, I invite you to walk with me a little bit today. You know, the ancients of every tradition knew the rhythms of the natural world. We, in our modern Western culture, have mostly forgotten them. We're insulated from them, literally, in the insulation of our homes, in the insulation of our warm, puffy coats, if we're lucky to have those. But as far back as Isaiah, here are words about the darkness. I will give you the treasures of darkness, riches stored in secret places, so that you may know that I am the Holy One who calls you by name. And in the Celtic world of Druids, the goddess Brigid, that the legends around her and the Saint Brigid, that those legends kind of grew alongside the old legends, and all nature-based wisdom, there is a sense of the rhythm and cycles of nature. In Celtic teaching from the day of the solstice on December 21st, that moment that is the liminal space when we enter the day of lengthening sun coming out of the days that have grown gradually darker. And we maybe don't see it as a treasure of darkness. But February 1st is Imbolc. That is the Celtic first day of spring. And that is Brigid's day. Again, not me, although I have a real kinship at this point in my life for that ancient teaching. So thanks, Mom, for the name. So there is a sense in that Celtic world that every 6 weeks, as you are honoring the rhythms of nature, there's a ritual around that, a ritual that helped weave our human experience into the natural world's rhythms. Not only as a witness, but as a full participant, recognizing that we are kin with all of creation, all that the Creator has given us. And so in our northern hemisphere, when we're in that liminal space, we now celebrate holidays of Christmas, Hanukkah, holidays where most of you probably have taken down your decorations and trees. I have not. That might be a job for tomorrow. How do you feel about winter as we are out of those days with, festive lights and holiday celebrations? How does winter sit with you? From that same book, Circle of Light, that I shared the meditation, Joyce Rupp and Macrina Whitaker write, in winter, the heartbeat of the land slows. This is the period of dormancy when the extravagance of summer becomes a distant memory. Nature accepts the great change that the pilgrimage of earth brings. Now is not the time for stretching and growing. Now is the time for withdrawal and restoration of energy, for slowing down. The lessening of light and the increase of darkness are necessary ingredients for the earth's nourishment here in our part of the world. They enable the fallow process to happen. Nature has been busy producing. It is time to slow down and rest. Without this rest, soil wears out and loses its nutrients. All of creation needs some time to pause and have its spent energy renewed. So do humans. winter offers this gift of essential renewal. So like my kind of split personality experience of how I have accepted winter over the years, seeing the beauty of bare trees against a gray or winter blue sky, seeing the snow-covered ground, and then recognizing that winter days are just challenging to live in when we have to go out in them. And for those who live in vulnerable states that don't have a warm home or a warm coat or enough food to nourish them in these dark and cold days, that is also winter's reality. And yet, when we lean in to what is winter's wisdom, we're invited into a profound sense of welcoming our own days of renewal. So in our inner winter, I don't know about you, but I bet your life has not been all one bright summer day, metaphorically speaking. We also experience those cycles. The inner winter that we might experience through loss, through a move, through a change in some life circumstances can throw us for a loop at any time of the year. And that inner winter is something that the British author Catherine May explores in her book, Wintering: The Power of Rest and Retreat in Difficult Times. I have it on hold at the library. I first experienced Catherine May's wisdom about wintering on one of my favorite podcasts that I've talked about a lot, On Being, with Krista Tippett. The interview was recorded in that winter of 2020, and then it aired in the winter of 2021. Some winters happen in the sun. That's how Catherine May begins her book, with the story of a blazing day in early September that shifted her whole world. She says in the interview, "I wanted to make it really clear that although a lot of the book Wintering is about my love of winter and my affection for the cold and even the dark, that wintering is a metaphor for those phases in our life when we feel frozen out or unable to make the next step. And that can come at any time, in any season, in any weather. Everybody winters at one time or another. Some winter over and over again." So wintering is a season of the cold. It's a fallow time in nature. But May also reminds us, Catherine May, reminds us that that cycle, that wintering, is both inevitable in nature and in our inner wintering. She writes, "We like to imagine that it's possible for life to be one eternal summer, and that we have uniquely failed to achieve that for ourselves when we land in a wintering time." Anybody experienced a sense of profound failure if you ran aground of a winter time in your life? We're not raised, she says, to recognize wintering or to acknowledge its inevitability. Instead, we tend to see it as an embarrassing anomaly that should be hidden or ignored. Yet winter brings about some of the most profound and insightful moments of our human experience. And wisdom resides in those who have wintered. So with kindness and generosity to yourself, I'm going to invite you to consider a couple of questions. As you think about a time of your own inner winter, a time you might be experiencing right now in this season of winter, but a time that has made you feel cut off from the warmth, maybe from the warmth of your own spirit and your own heart, cut off from the warmth of the Holy One, that while it is always present and available to us, sometimes in our winter, we forget that darkness is a treasure, where if we allow it, we're invited to go deeply into that well that never runs dry. And so we're going to listen to Roger sing a beautiful song, Winter, and I'm going to invite you to get kind of metaphysical and metaphorical as you listen and as you think about these questions, wherever they ring for you this morning, while Roger plays and I hold the space for us. So think about your childhood experiences of the dark. Were you afraid of the dark? I thought the shadow at my parents' bedroom was a bear. Dad, can you turn on the bathroom light? And yet I also loved the night sky, and maybe you did as well. Did you love winter? Did you live somewhere where you could play in the snow as a kid? Snow angels and snow people, snow forts, snowball fights. How do the changing weather patterns due to climate change affect our relationship to winter and to what the earth herself is crying out for us to hear? What places in your heart have felt cold or dark within? What dormant life resides in those winter spaces inside of you? How has a winter experience birthed a new spring for you? And so I invite you into the beauty of this song.
I stand alone in the darkness of night, in the deep silence that won't let me go. The mighty moon draws me into her light and leaves my shadow on shimmering snow. The winter trees reaching up to the sky, bare branches laden with wisdom untold, their hidden roots giving strength to defy the biting wind and the bleak winter cold. The winter whispers of life at its core, of a stark beauty with nothing to hide. The winter whispers of life that is more than all that's born and beyond all that's died.
And so we bless the dark. We bless the slowing down. We bless the season of rest and renewal. And we bless the dark as the womb, the birthplace of the light. But trusting that both are essential. We bless winter. We bless winter as the birthplace of spring. We bless our trust in the cycles and rhythms of nature and of our own lives. And we listen to the deep well of wisdom of winter. The wisdom of the Creator's great gift of nature. Nature that is our kin and our calling. And so it is. Amen.